Well, good morning All Saints and welcome to Cuba. I'm sitting here in a place called Rancho Luna. It's on the south coast of Cuba, and just a couple of hundred miles to the south of where I am at the moment is South America. It looks a really peaceful place at the moment, but about 50 years ago this place was a battleground. As you probably know, in 1959 there was a revolution here when Fidel Castro and the communist government came to power. 2 years later, in 1961, there was a counter-revolution, an invasion on the south coast of Cuba at a place called the Bay of Pigs by counter-revolutionaries backed by the USA. And there was a massive battle which took place over about 3 days. In fact, the counter-revolutionaries were beaten back and Castro stayed in power. But they've got a big museum there, which Anne and I have been around, with captured tanks and planes that have been shot down, all sorts of interesting things. They're very proud of their history here. Cuba, you know, is different to almost any other country I've ever been to. In particular, the cars are amazing, you know. Cars are remarkable. Just after the communists came to power, the USA imposed a blockade, a trade blockade, which meant they couldn't get any cars. So what did they do? They kept their old cars going, which means that about 30% of the cars on the road are classic 30s cars dating from the 1950s. It's like stepping back into The Godfather Part 3 if you've ever seen that film. And they keep them going. We were taken down to the beach a few days ago by the owner of the guest house in a 1927 open-top Chevrolet, almost 90 years old. Quite extraordinary. It's on its 4th engine, but it's still keeping going. Well, it's a real mixture, Cuba. They made some great strides. Illiteracy has been almost entirely wiped out. They've got masses of doctors. I think one doctor for about every 180 people, which is much better than Britain. And the life expectancy is almost as good as Britain's. So they're getting some things right, but they're getting some things badly wrong. This is still a communist dictatorship. There is no freedom of speech. There's only one party, the Communist Party, and any opposition to it is ruthlessly suppressed. There's no malnutrition, but the way they get around that is by monthly food handouts. Change is coming. The US Embassy, which had been closed for over 50 years, opened up recently in Havana. Some people are looking forward with excitement and expectation to the changes that are certainly going to happen in the next few years. Some are fearful. Where is God in all this? It's really hard to say, you know. The church was persecuted until about 2007. There do seem to be odd signs of life. We went past the Pentecostal church in the Havana a few days ago. This is basically a Spanish background country, a Spanish culture country, so you might expect the Roman Catholic Church will be dominant, and certainly the Pope has been here. Pope Francis is very popular. But actually, the most frequent, most widespread religion in this country is not Roman Catholicism, and it's not the Pentecostal Church. It's actually something called Santeria. Santeria is the worship of saints, which kind of sounds okay, but Santeria, the worship of saints, is actually the worship of African deities, African gods, wrapped up in the worship of saints. This is the religion that was brought across by the slaves about 200 years ago. Slavery was only abolished in Cuba in about 1888, and so they're still worshipping their African deities dressed up as Roman Catholic saints. But as I say, it's an extraordinary place. If you can try and come quickly, because America is soon going to arrive in a big way with McDonald's and KFC and Coke, and it's going to lose some of its character. It's not a perfect place, it's far from perfect, but to be honest, a society that can do without McDonald's can't be all bad. Well, how about the notice for this week? Have a look at your notice sheet. If you've got some personal needs, some pastoral care needs, please contact Ted and the pastoral team, Ted Pratt, and they'll be looking after you. Any other problems, please would you contact Paul Beckson or Rick Boland. It's really great to know the church can still function when the vicar's not here. If you want notices for the notice sheet, please contact Paul Beckson. He'll make sure that they go in for you. Can I just remind you of something that you were given at the beginning of the month? At the beginning of the month, everyone got a letter about becoming a friend of the Wave, signed by Matt and Rich and Tom. And this is a really good opportunity to really get behind our youth work. It's an opportunity to help in practical ways, to give and to pray. and it would be wonderful if we could all be friends of the Wave. Could you please send back your forms as soon as possible? On the 13th of September, there's a special event at 6 o'clock in the URC, and it would be great if everyone could come along to that. It's the launch of Wave Kids. We're going to be formally commissioning Tom Bullock as the children's ministry leader for Wave Kids, and also we're going to be praying for the 4 interns who are going to be working with the Wave this next year, including Liam Hathaway, who's going to be working with All Saints in particular. While I'm away, it would be great if you could be praying for me. As you can see, I've got Share and Pray with me, so every day I'm praying for you. And if you could be praying for me, that would be wonderful. Next Sunday, next weekend in fact, I'm going to be at Reading in Berkshire, and I'm going to be at a church conference which is being run from people from Bethel Church in Redding, California. And it's going to be a really good opportunity for me to hear from God. So if you could be praying for me, that would be fantastic. Well, have a really great week. Have a really enjoyable Sunday. I'm sure you're going to have a great time, and I'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.